Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 149. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside as usual by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardolph. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and blue sky at us. I'm MS to B. Sean's Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is Emerald Bowler on X. Sean is Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is C2 Believe, SEA to Believe, and I bet he's believing right now. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think of the topics we talk about in the comments below. Boys, we're champions. No time for losers. Sorry, Patriots. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. Screw you. Seahawks won 29-13 in the big game. Let's just get some reactions. Kevin, where did you watch it? You went over to Sean's house, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. Well, what did you think of the game?
I was pretty pissed off that we won. Um, Honestly, I threw a mess everywhere. Sean, I think, is still not talking to me because I messed
Mhm.
up his house, you know. And I just I flipped some tables, and I was upset that we won. I wanted us to lose, of course. I was kidding. Uh, no, ecstatic. Yeah. Probably not as much as like looking back. Probably not as much as I was because the first time you win a championship is, plus we were a lot younger too. Like as we get older, other things kind of take precedent. But um, I'm still, yeah. It took a while for it to hit. Also I felt kind of awkward because my girlfriend is a Pats fan and sitting right next to me, and I didn't want to get punched in the face, you know. So, yeah, no, she was a good sport about it though the entire time and even afterwards. So, um, no, yeah, it feels so good. Especially since like not really many people other than your guys' mom like really predicted this to happen. Like I thought we were gonna have a good season, but like with the division being so tough, like I don't think any of us took us to win the division. Did we? I think we took Rams and Niners.
I thought
I
Matt
I
did.
did. I did.
Oh, you
And I
did?
have the
Oh, okay.
ticket to prove it. So,
Oh, okay. No, I meant here on the podcast is what I'm saying. But
yeah,
Yeah, I think
that
Matt
was
did.
me. Yeah.
oh, did it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, it's definitely surreal. I'm excited for the future. It's going to be interesting. Like, I'm going to be really invested in this off season because there's going to be a lot of stuff, and we'll get into that over the course of, a little bit of this podcast and over the next couple podcasts of like what this off season is going to look like because it's going to be a big off season for the Hawks, probably one of the biggest ones in a while. Um, but overall, just ecstatic. I'm happy for the team, happy for the city because like we definitely. Honestly, this was just a good year for Seattle sports, where the Mariners get into, the ALCS, even though we did, kind of came up short there, which kind of sucked. But I mean, if we go back and win if the Mariners win the World Series this year, like I don't think there's a better. And honestly, kind of like we were saying on this podcast, like this was the most beautiful route. It's the sweetest moment as a Seahawks fan. It doesn't really get better. Well, okay, it can by one thing, and I'll say in a moment. But you literally went through the playoffs, eliminated two of your divisional rivals, and you crapped on all over one of them. Like you again, back to back on the Niners. Um, you had the actual Super Bowl in the NFC Championship against the Rams, and it should have been a higher dividend minus what Reed did to kind of let them back in. Um, and you got your revenge against the Patriots over Super Bowl 49, like having to hear and see that play over and over again, and then hearing people be like, "Oh, you should have feed it to beast mode." And we've talked about it on this podcast, and we're not going to go into it again. But yeah, you don't feed it to beast mode. Um, it is surreal. It's just the best way I can put it is like that. Just it's. I know I don't really sound ecstatic and crazy, but like oh, it's glorious. I literally ordered merch like within a minute after after it happened just to have because like I still have some of the stuff from the first Super Bowl, but um definitely, and then over time too, over the next few months, I'll probably collect a little bit more. So, but overall, good.
Sean, what do you think?
Um, I, me and Kevin were talking about it at the after the game. Um, yeah, this was like upside. I had a buddy, shout out Tim, text me. I think we all knew the defense was going to be this good, and the season came down to Sam Darnold. What was Sam Darnold? What is Sam Darnold? Because that was the question. You knew the defense was going to be good, but you're going to need some offense to do something to get to a certain point. And I think all of us predicted them to win like 10, 11 games. Sorry.
Yeah,
We all had like double
yeah,
digits. I had them in second making the wild card. We all had playoffs, which was like a lot more than a lot of the national people had them in third, which I will say this everyone's dunking on them. Rightfully so. Like the 49ers stay healthy. And the 49ers even not healthy, won 12 games. This is a dogfight. These three teams, and Kevin's point to next year, it's going to be a dogfight for years between these three teams. Like the margins between these three teams are so small right now. Like it could flip. We could easily get third in the division next year because these other teams are very, very good. Like we played three coin flip games against the Rams this year. Like it is this is a tough division. So I like it's not a realm to say like, oh, this team could get third, but like they were going to, based on the defense, the floor is raised. And with Mike McDonald, I think Mike McDonald impressed me a bunch during the season. We talked about was we knew the talent and his acumen was good, but I don't think we understood how good it was. Like when we saw what he did with Nick in his first year, what he did with bench players coming in. I'm like, oh, so each time he did something and showed me he did something, I was like, wow, the floor is even higher and higher and higher because he could take guys off the dog pile and be like, oh, I'm going to make this out of you. I'm going to make this out of you. I'm going to do this out of you. And it was like plugging and playing guys in there and like did some nice, nice things. So that was crazy to see. And then it all came down to Sam Darnold. And I think even thinking to our point was like, man, if you had told me coming in the season we win 14 games with Sam Darnold, I'd be like, I'm taking that as a W, right? Nothing else included. Like I would take. You told me we're gonna win 14 games, win a division. I'd be like, oh, whatever happens is a win. Because when I coming in, I was like, oh, we could easily win. We can win the 14 games. We can win 6 games. You know what I mean? We could compete for the number one overall pick if Sam Darnold is seeing ghost Sam Darnold. Like it could be a complete disaster. So, but like with what he did during this, he impressed me a ton. And so, yeah, I think what Kevin said, I wasn't. The first one meant a lot because there's just years of frustration. No Seattle team has ever, none of my other teams that I root for have ever won anything. Um, so that one meant a lot, and that was like a lot more hype. I think this time around, it obviously nothing's like your first one, but like this one, it felt kind of the same as last one up to a point because I think all of us felt the NFC Championship in the moment was the Super Bowl. So this was kind of like 2 weeks of just kind of getting ready to win the game. That sounds like really braggadocious, but that's what Mina Kimes said in the after. She goes, after the second drive, I knew there's no way the Patriots are going to win this game. That's kind of what it felt like. I was like, look, I know our team's going down the field and kicking field goals, but like, even I think Kevin, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when your girlfriend was there sitting next to me. I said, no offense, but like I said it a couple weeks prior, if the Bears had beat the Rams, I told my wife, I go, you should plan on the parade tickets because if the Bears had won, it didn't matter what the other four teams did. We were gonna be the best team, and that was it. We were gonna run over the Bears and run over whoever was in the AFC. That was it. It was the Rams and the Seahawks were the best two teams in the playoffs.
yep.
And honestly, the 49ers are the third team, and that was it. It was the NFC West. Who was going to win the NFC West in the playoffs was going to win the Super Bowl. And that's what happened. Like, and so when they won, they scratched it out. I was like, that was the Super Bowl. Like the other team is just a formality at this point. And that's exactly what ended up happening. This is gonna sound a little crazy. I was 49 yards away from almost predicting this game completely because I needed one more garbage time touchdown and it would have made 29-20 or 29-20, and I predicted 29-30-20 garbage time touchdown. So I was they're on the 50-yard line. If they got that last touchdown, it would have been exactly like I said. I'm like, it's just garbage time points for the Patriots. That's what it would have been. The Seahawks are going to be up by big. So,
Mhm.
like, I didn't have kind of like the last time, 2013. I thought there was a way. It's an NFL game. You play the game. You have to. I thought there's a way that Patriots could win this game ugly, but there's a way the Seahawks can win the game ugly, and there's a way the Seahawks can blow this game out. There was no way the Patriots are going to blow out the Seahawks the way it was. Same with the Broncos. There's no way the Broncos are going to be able to blow out the Seahawks in that game. but they could win a scrappy game. And as soon as it didn't get scrappy, I was like, I don't see how the Patriots are going to do this. Like they fell behind early. We talked about it again. Like this defense and offense makes good second half adjustments. If the Patriots had to get a lead early and hold it and make it dirty and muddy, and as soon as the Seahawks kept driving and kicking field goals, yeah, a touchdown would have been great. A JSN that missed touchdown would have ended the game probably in the first quarter, in my eyes. If he had scored in that like little lob and just misses it, game's probably over at that point. But like they kept making drives, and as soon as it got to 9, I never felt nervous. I was like, I don't know if they were just kicking his ass. like I'll say this: Drake May is better than that show, but like that O line. I mean, Will Campbell got so embarrassed he didn't even answer the media after the game, and flew back to New England to answer calls. Like he allowed 9 pressures alone. Like they killed that offensive line, and Drake May didn't do anything to help him out, but it was it was a clinic. And now it came out with Spoon said that Mike McDonald had told the team that they had a tip. So when they were even coming out of the huddle, the way the line lined up, they knew if it was a pass or a run. And you tell Mike McDonald and that team that it's a pass or a run, and then they're like, "Okay, Spoon, you're gonna blitz here because they showed this look." And it's over. The game's over. Like at that point, and they Spoon said they knew right off the rip what was gonna happen on the plays. And I'm like, hearing that, I was like, yeah, they knew it was over when they lined up that first series. They probably knew, and it showed. They just every time Spoon blitzed, it felt like he got pressure because they must have known, like, okay, they're going to bring it, they're going to do this, and you're going to blitz right here, Spoon, and he just blitzed right there, and they laid out the carpet for him every single time, and he got pressure almost every single time, and it was a mad dash to who, and we'll talk about Kenneth Walker, but honestly, the defense, it was a mad dash to who got to the quarterback first, and unfortunately, they split up sacks a little bit, or else one of the defensive players is getting sacks or getting it because they shared too much. If one guy had just got a couple more, it's a defensive player, but they all split it 2-2-2. So it was total domination. Yeah, I was never nervous. So it was I'm not sad about being nervous for a Super Bowl, but it is kind of a surreal moment. Like that's the who was Clark on ESPN was like, "Hey, you guys didn't seem to party too much," and I was like, "Yeah, that kind of how it felt with us, and it kind of how it felt with the Seahawks because it was kind of like last week we all took the deep breath and like decompressed." Because that was what we kind of felt, and it was just like, okay, we knew this was going to happen for 2 weeks, basically, and that's because kind of it was a weird, surreal feeling. Like Kevin said, it didn't hit for a while because it was kind of like, yeah, this was going to happen, and so you got to spread out the joy over like 2-3 weeks. I mean, granted, I was able to watch a ton of ESPN during the day and NFL Network and watch all of them talk about how great the Seahawks are. The NFL Network showed the replay of the game on Monday like 4 times in a row, so I had that on basically all day while I worked. it was just replaying over and over and over. But yeah, it was more of a sense of like expecting it than nervousness and that first Super Bowl where everything was like hanging on the edge. But it was yeah, the Seahawks are Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, I watched it at home, had a few friends over. I was the only one who really was into football. Had a friend come over and was contrarian rooting for the Patriots, but I also got it to him because he had to watch commercials and he hates commercials, so take that. So yeah, it was I said if the defense shows up, it's not really going to matter, and that was definitely the case. I mean, man, that defense looked so good. Um, you know, just all across the board, you can't give enough credit to some of these guys like Ernest Jones, Josh Jobe had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I will say he did get away with a punch, but he didn't see it, so no, whatever. Drake Thomas had a great game. Nick Emanwari was great. Devin Witherspoon had maybe the best argument for a defensive player for MVP.
They
I
took a
thought,
sack from him at the end. I just realized they only gave him credit for one. Maybe that's
yeah.
what did it.
Yeah, like he was flying around, and you know, throughout like the last maybe month, I don't think we've seen Spoon blitz as much as he did in this
He
game, and I
he
think that
blitzed
was
in the
part of the
first
plan.
half more. He blitzed in the first half more than he had blitzed in any game the entire season, or his entire career. They
Yeah,
brought him 5 times in the first half.
23% of his blitz this season were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
yeah.
they brought him because they clearly saw something. Like I said, like they were like, "You're gonna line up this way. We're gonna bring Spoon," and they hammered that. They smashed that button over and over and over.
Well, not only that, but it was disguised. Like Spoon was never breaking to the quarterback until the ball was snapped, and then he flew through the line because there was helmet on helmet. He had a basically a free lane for the most part, or juking guys out and just
And I
getting the
think that goes
quarterback.
back to Mike saying like we saw their tells and we knew they'd like have only 5 guys in the pass protection and we would delay Spoon and that's what Spoon said, that he'd just come free because they knew they had all this protection already signed. They're going to pass and we'd have a free runner. And so it's credit to Mike as well. Mike's
He's a genius.
yeah, like masterclass,
I
absolute
mean,
masterclass.
Derek
Like
Hall, 2 sacks. Byron Murphy, 2 sacks. Demarcus Lawrence, 1 sack. Riley Mills, oh my God. Like when he just like sacked 2 people
Manhandle.
at once.
is
Um,
is that is that when the game was like over when he bull rushes
No,
that
it was
guard?
early.
no, that
It
was
was,
I know.
it was the
second
first
No, but
quarter, I
that's what I'm
think.
saying. Like, did you guys ever like at that moment? You're like, our fifth interior or fourth interior lineman is like bull rushing their guard and sacking Drake May. Like, there's no shot here, right? Like, it was just like, what are we? Our rookie fifth depth line interior guy just bull rush their starting guard and tackle Drake May with one arm. What are you gonna do at that point? Like, what do you mean? They're playing the fifth interior guy in the second quarter of a Super Bowl for shits and giggles. like that's what they're doing at that point. Like they're like, just do it. Like go out there, rookie. You're fine.
Yeah, and I mean, Jaron Reed's so happy for him to finally get one. Demarcus Lawrence, tweets that age well. When he tweeted that he's going to win a Super Bowl outside of Dallas, like nailed it.
Yep.
And then a guy we, maybe wrote off a bit too soon, Uchenna Nwosu, I thought played great. I mean, he didn't have the numbers, but he was getting back there and getting pressure on the quarterback. And Drake May just never, he looked scared. He looked scared anytime the ball was snapped, and he
Well,
never had the ability to really step up in the
Well,
pocket for the most part. He got a couple scrambles when there was a clear lane for him, but for the most part, they
man, he got
bottled him
hit
up, and it
11
was,
times.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd be terrified too.
yeah.
terrifying.
Like he got killed every fourth time he dropped back. He got hit, not a pressure hit in the face. Like he got hit every 4 times. Like once a series, he got hit basically. Like yeah,
And
that would suck.
And the offense, Sam said it after the game. He's like, we could have played better, but we got the win. And I think that's fair. I mean, they could have played better. They didn't need to because the defense was so
Sure.
good. Sam early on looked a little shaky. Had some throws that were maybe possibly picked off if like the player's in a better position or something like that. But he was trying to get some tight window throws. But Cooper Kupp, 6 for 61. AJ Barner, thank you for letting me hit on one of my bets with the jersey number over 11.5. So that was great. And then, Jackson had a tough game because he was in early, had the concussion protocol, blue medical tent, had to go all the way back, and then he came back in and was just fine. So, Rashid Shaheed had a couple catches, almost had my 60-yard touchdown pass there too. So he was so close to that
I,
one
I,
deep ball.
I
And
don't know if he scores because he's diving on the play, but yes,
maybe, yeah.
but like I'll say this about Sam Darnold, and someone broke it down really well online. I can't remember who it was, but his ability to avoid sacks was actually really good. They got a lot of pressure on him because, again, like Kevin's point, that interior is really good. He avoided a ton of pressure in that game, like because the way that you're going to get killed is fall behind the sticks, make a turnover. He avoided pressures, threw the ball away, made it reasonable. Didn't lose. He got sacked one time, but didn't like take a ton of stupid stuff. That first, I mean, again, like he misses JSN, and there was a time he misses Cooper Kupp down there. But I'll say this: Gonzalez saved like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
If he
Gonzalez was
doesn't
great in
play
the game.
out of his
Yeah.
mind, this Sam Darnold's stat line looks a lot better. Like to your point, Matthew, if he doesn't swat that Shaheed ball down and that JSN one, which was a little bit behind, but like if he doesn't swat that ball down, that's probably 2 touchdowns, maybe 2 touchdowns, and like 100 something extra yards. Like
Yeah.
Gonzalez played amazing too, so
He
he
played
gets some hype. He showed up for the Patriots. So I was like, damn, like they would have taken make me breathe. I mean, I wasn't super nervous, but like that would have been like, okay, I could kind of like not even watch the TV at this point. This game would have been over. But like it like he did enough, and he's a couple inches away from like 4 plays turning this game completely around. Which you got to hit it. So he didn't play like great, but he didn't play like bad. Like he's
No, no, no.
this
He
game
didn't. He
this
didn't play
game's
great,
goes
but
a
he
lot
played
different if a couple
good.
inches
He
go a
played good
different
enough.
way.
Good enough,
Yeah,
certainly.
didn't make mistake. Did
Yeah,
not make a
didn't make
mistake.
mistakes. And that's really what he was asked to do this entire season, and for the most part, he did. So,
They got up what 12 and then just hand the ball off to Kenneth Walker. Like that's just what
yeah.
they did. Like
But
just turn
as
around and hand it off. You don't need to get your first downs when you need to, passing, blah blah, do that other
well,
stuff. Especially when JSN went down. You're
it
like,
it
okay, just
it
hand it to
felt
Kenneth
like
Walker.
the Patriots' plan was to stop Sam Darnold. And so
And
that
JSN, they really, yeah, that was their plan.
allowed
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker to do what he did because after like the first 10 or so carries, like he was just kind of gashing him. And credit to Kenneth Walker because he was so patient. Like he was I don't want to say walking to the line, but he was kind of just waiting for the blocks to develop, finding the gap and just running through it. Like, I had friends over who aren't football people, but they were impressed by how patient he was, waited for a hole to open and just darted through it. And as a running back, that's your job, and he executed it perfectly. So,
that
you know,
we
credit
were
to
talking about
the
that
line for
at
good
the at
blocking
we were
and
talking about that at the
credit to
game. I've been waiting 4 years for him to do that. He does that. He's Bijan Robinson. He is talented as he's as talented. He can't catch like Bijan, but like he can bust on the outside. He's fast. He just needs to stop bouncing everything all the time. And when he did that play where he waited a long time, like yes, just that. Like, and you get your yards
Yep.
up the middle, and
But
that's
there
huge.
were some times where he took a look and bounced to the outside correctly and beat
Yes,
everyone to
correctly.
the edge. So
He always can. He just needs
yeah,
to inside.
yeah.
There was one play where it was like I remember I looked at Kevin Rachel. I was like, it was like a 3 yard run, but it was like Kenneth, you didn't bounce it. You just went straight and you took your three. That is what he needs to do more often. And I was like, yes, you're figuring it out. Sucks you're figuring out your last year on your contract, but like, yes, you're figuring this out.
Honestly,
Like,
I think what kind of crams to it too, is that I think Kenneth Walker is more of a bell cow back, where he's better and he sees things better when he gets more touches. And
he's just always hurt. That's why he hasn't been a
I
bell
know,
cow yet.
but with his opportunity to do that now with Charbonnet gone, it's you're kind of seeing that if he stays healthy, like that's the Kenneth Walker you're probably going to see, which is
That's been
nice.
the issue. That's been the issue for years. Is can he stay
So
healthy?
I mean, it was 9-0 at halftime, and like Sean said, I wasn't nervous. I was just like, come on, just break through. Like
You
you're
felt if
on
they
the
got that
doorstep and you
touchdown, it
keep
was over.
knocking. And credit
Yeah,
to the Patriots defense, they kept them in that game for much longer than they were actually in that game. So once the touchdown to Barner hit, I was like, okay, this game's over.
yeah,
And then it was
yeah,
completely sealed on the play where uh Witherspoon hits him, and I thought it was a fumble from the angle that
yeah. I
the
did too.
broadcast was
Yep.
on, and he just picked it up. But I thought they were gonna like review it and call it an incomplete pass. But no, Nuosu catches
Yeah.
it in rhythm and runs down the field for a touchdown. So,
Is it
I mean,
is there a
that
more play that shows how that game was? There are three people met Drake May at at the ball and hit him, and then Nuosu's the guy who gets there late and catches the ball. Like three Seahawks are like, who can hit him first? Basically, at this point, that's how bad the offensive line was. It was like Spoon's like, I got here first, and then Nuosu's like, I have the ball somehow, and it's just like running down the field. Like that is epitomizes the entire game. It was which Seahawk could get to Drake May first. That felt like on every play because someone was going to get to him.
and this season felt much different than the first one because the first one we were expected to do that. That like they came into that season, the Legion of Boom was established. They came off a decent playoff run, and they were expected to do that. So this season felt much different because you know, a lot of people just didn't really have us doing what we did. And not only did we do it, but won the NFC West, like, and then went through two NFC West opponents, avenged our loss against the Patriots last time. So, I mean, if there are writers who are writing this out and this is all scripted, well done. You nailed it. So it's just what a way to do it, and to have Sam Darnold shake his demons off, to have Mike McDonald just have this defense looking, you know, like I don't. You look at the defense, and there are like minor areas where they could get better in the off season, and then we'll see who obviously, with contracts ending, is able to stick around and keep playing for us. But the defense just there wasn't a hole. There wasn't someone you could exploit. Reek had some issues when he was emotional, but other than that, like for the most part, there wasn't a weak spot in the defense. I mean, if you want to point at Drake Thomas, like, but
No,
he's been
I don't
good the
think.
entire
No,
season.
I don't
Like,
think there's
I don't
any
know if there's a way you can like
the
if you're
weakness.
pointing maybe the worst
The
player on a great defense, okay, sure, but
the
I
weakness
don't see
is
how
Sean
you can.
McVay and the MVP. That was. I mean, that's it. That's the only guy
So
really who did it.
I mean, what a way to do it. And I just got paid today, so I'm gonna buy some swag here later.
Just
So
now, Rob Hammerstein for the Rams, their starting right tackle, just retired. Just throwing that
Ooh.
out there. So that's a
Ooh.
big blow. He's our team captain too, or yeah, offensive
Um,
captain. So
and then on the Patriots side, I know Drake May was an MVP candidate. I don't really believe that, but he just he's got room to grow. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he is MVP caliber at all. And so he played some pretty good defense to get here, but he wasn't great in those games either. So, um, great for them to get here, but I think any AFC team might have struggled against the Seahawks. But
uh,
the Patriots just I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. And I don't think
no,
it would have been the same with every AFC team. I mean, maybe the Bills put up a better performance,
that
but
would have been the only team I'm
yeah.
worried about. Like when
So,
it started, when you rolled out the balls and started the playoffs, I was like, it's the NFC West and the Bills, and that was the only teams that I was like, I'm only worried about you
all right. Well,
because every AFC team has immense flaws,
let's talk
and
about.
we
Sorry,
saw
go
the
ahead.
O line. We saw the O line for the Patriots. That's their immense flaws. We talked about coming in. Like no quarterback's going to survive behind that thing. So
And as the game was going, Sean mentioned like bet on the quarterbacks being MVP. The more the game went on, the more I was like, I think you can give the MVP to Sam Darnold. Like his stat line was fine, but Kenneth's was
yeah,
better. And if you had to give it to an offensive player, it was Kenneth Walker. I would have given it to Spoon personally. And then there's a
well, my
decent case
question
for
is,
Jason Myers. Let's be real here. So,
why do
uh,
you have to give it to like because the MVP of the national championship game was the offensive line for the Indiana Hoosiers. So why can't we just give it to like
the
the D
defense as
line
a
or something
whole.
like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
like
fine with
that's
that.
like I'm
I
like,
don't
why
know
don't
what
we
the
just do
criteria is
that?
or what the rules are necessarily, but that
But like,
sounds good to me.
why do we have to force it? Especially because it's going to be an offensive player force. I'm like, I know that they separated it, but like that defense killed that offense. Like that's the MVP of the game. Like that's what it was. Like, and so I was like, why can't we just do that? Like, because I feel like that's how it had to go. I mean, I think they got the right call like by the rules, like of what I would assume the rules are. Kenneth Walker probably was the best player. But yeah, I mean, Jason Myers has a legitimate case.
Look,
It's not a joke. Like,
most field goals in a Super Bowl, didn't miss, and now he didn't have anything like he's maybe what 45 was his
I thought he had a
longest.
150 yarder. I thought,
Let's see.
but yeah, either way, like he did it. Like it's literally his job, and he did them all.
41 was his
Like,
longest, and also credit
oh, okay.
to Big Dick Dixon because he put them in the like in 10-yard line and back like three times, four times. Three
He
times,
kicked
three times.
3 balls within the 6 yard line.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like the a lot of the emphasis is on offense, but the defense was the catalyst here, as well as special teams just absolutely punishing them and not letting them have any room to breathe. So,
they had 7 punts, and I think their kick returner was top 3 in the league as well. Their punt returner, along with Shaheed, and he had like 8 yards on 6 punts. Like Dixon neutralized their entire special teams basically, like completely dominated it.
all right.
Let's just give it to the punter and the kicker. F it.
I
I'm
mean,
on board with this now.
I'm
Let's
kind of for
both
it.
of them.
I'm kind of for
Let's
it.
both of it. Myers Dixon. Let's do it
Anyone who kicks, just give them the MVP.
because they did everything they're supposed to do today. They
Well, the
every aspect.
parade is tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday. Grandma and Grandpa are going to the ceremony at the field and then trying to get in the parade. Um, the parade sounds great. Kevin and I were talking about this beforehand. It sounds like a lot of people, and then maybe not quite as worth it as I would like. So I'm hoping, like Grandma and Grandpa, I can be retired and they win another one, so I can go do all this stuff and not have to worry about work. So maybe in 29 years that'll be the case. But let's talk about now officially Clint Kubiak is the Raiders head coach. And after watching the season, Kevin, how do you feel about this news now?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to kind of go forward. He is a big part of the success of this offense, I feel. And it'll be interesting to see Sam and his offense behind it. Because honestly, they're probably just going to promote from within or find you're not going to have top quality picks out there to be frank. Like everything is kind of gone now. So that's what's going to be very interesting. Like I said, this offseason is probably going to be the most interesting offseason for the Seahawks in a while. And that's one of the main reasons why. So, but good. I mean, good on Kubiak. I hope he does well over there with Mendoza. And hopefully he doesn't pluck too many of our staff away along with him. So
Sean, how you feeling? Is Daryl Bevel available or?
Oh gosh. I will say, yeah, it's this is to Kevin's point. Yeah, there's might not be. That's why you have to go college. Like maybe promote a guy from college, but you have to be careful with that. This is the downside of having a defensive coordinator because if you are good, you will always have to replace the OC. The problem is a defensive first team has a nice floor, but it can't ever win you the Super Bowl on its own. You have to have a complementary offense. The opposite is true. You can win a Super Bowl based off just an offense. The Kansas City Chiefs are a perfect example of that. But like, so that's the problem. Like, we were like the 10th offense in football this year. The problem is, if we're worse, can we beat the 49ers and Rams? Like, we're on a thin line margins. Like I said, their margins are really small. We really can't afford to get much worse on offense and still win the division. So you kind of have to hit on this one. You kind of have to find somebody who's not going to lower the floor a ton. I mean, hopefully you raise the floor and they get even more out of it. But like, I am incredibly nervous about who we're going to get there and what they can get out of it. So that's why maybe an internal hire and not changing a ton is maybe the best route because you're like, hey, this worked. Let's do some wrinkles with it. Obviously, you can't run it back entirely with the same complete, everything's the same. But you got to have somebody who's like, I got some fresh kind of ideas to run here, but we're going to kind of loosely do the same thing and hopefully draft some more talent to help out this offense a little bit on the offensive side with Anthony Bradford maybe playing his last game at guard and things like that. But it does make me a little nervous about who we're going to get because, like Kevin said, we are out of like top tier options. But like I said, Sean McVay wasn't a top tier option, and neither was Mike McDonald because everybody else he was one of the last hires actually during that cycle. So let's see. Let's let John do his thing. I guess maybe they got somebody like deep on like a QB coach on another team, maybe like teed up for like another guy spot or something. But I'm interested to see who it is. Let's hopefully it's someone young with some fresh ideas or something like that.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Seahawks Super Bowl victory. If you're going to the parade or something like that, let me know or let us know on Blue Sky. I am a Master B. Sean is Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is Emerald Bowler on X. Sean is Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is C to Believe, SEA to Believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that like button. Tell us what you think of the Seahawks in the comments below. We will probably take a couple weeks off to celebrate and pop champagne, buy some swag, and then we will be back. We'll talk more about the Seahawks, see if there's any off-season news, and then I think pitchers and catchers are coming here soon, so it'll be almost Mariners season. So with
Thursday.
that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports, Super Bowl champs. Bring back our Sonics.